Hey guys, this is a pre-tournament report for the Harris chain. We just rolled in, came from a not so good showing at the St. John's. You know, you kind of got to take what we learned at the St. John's. We were almost there. There were some fish starting to move up. I've never been here before, and I kind of like that. You know, sometimes you get to going back to places and you kind of develop a history. You want to fish where you did before. I've never been here, and I don't know anything about it. The only thing I do know is there were some college kids here a few weeks ago that caught 31 pounds the first day, 29 pounds the second day, and they lost. So, they got beat by, I think, a 26 and a 36. So they definitely live here, and these guys are going to catch them. I honestly think that, given the circumstances, the way the weather's been, it's been pretty cool. We're kind of going to have some stable weather this week, not a lot of cold. I just think it's going to be on fire. I think you're going to probably see guys catch them out deep. And deep is relative for here, you know, out there 5 to 10 offshore, and you're going to see some guys sight fishing. You know, I think for me, I don't like sight fishing unless I just come across one that's dumb. You know, I want to fish for them. I just feel like that's my chances are better. But I want to do whatever. You know, this is one where I'm just going to go fishing tomorrow. I don't know which lake that I want to go to. I'm just going to put the boat in, put the trolling motor down, and take off, learn something, and then hopefully I can run it. You know, I don't know if there's grass out off the bank. I don't know what the shoreline looks like. But I do know there's a lot of water here, thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. And one thing about Florida, there's just as many that live up on the bank as there is out in the middle. So there's a lot of water to cover, but we'll kind of go through ActiveCaptain, and I'll kind of show you the layout of the Harris chain. So what the Harris chain is a chain, I think, of 9 lakes. And honestly, I don't even know the name of all of them. This is Harris, I do know that, and I know that's where we're taking off from. But these lakes are joined by a bunch of different canals. And one thing that you can think of, or that I think about coming to Florida, is if we get a day that's windy, you know, these canals that join the lake, the mouths of them, you know, they could come into play. I don't know a lot about it. Like I said, it's the first time I've been here, but just looking at it, you know, these lakes are relatively flat. Harris looks to be the deeper with the green out in the middle. You have Eustis, Dora. I think this is Griffin, and you have the water coming in up here. You know, you look on some of these lakes, and I think this is really going to play this week is these canals. You know, these canals around these residential areas where a lot of these fish can come in off of the lake, you know, to a protected area and spawn. But, you know, I think the wild card this week is probably going to be this lake. It's called APPAREL. I remember, you know, several years ago, Glenn Brown doing real well in there. And I remember him saying that the water was always a little dirtier in that lake. But, you know, one thing that always scares me when you go to a lake that has a chain or a body of water that has a lot of fish is if we take off here and I got to spend all of this time going here, going through the lock to get to this lake, is how many fish you're running by to get here and how much time you're wasting. So literally tomorrow, I don't know, I'm gonna put the boat down, or the boat in the water probably in Harris here, and just take off down the bank, looking, you know, look out in the middle for some grass and just kind of see what happens. But I really don't have a game plan right now because I've never been here. I don't know what it looks like. But I do know that this is thousands and thousands of acres. So I need to kind of pick, you know, a couple and use my practice wisely and not try to cover the whole body of water. Harris chain practice recap. On a scale of 1 to 10, if I had to rate it, with 1 being terrible and 10 being the best, honestly about a 2.5. One thing, I've never been here, and when I got here, you know, I just kept seeing all of these different lakes. I think there's 9. There may be more than that. You know, and there's, you know, I like to flip reeds and fish isolated cover and stuff like that. And I went to running around, and before I knew it, I'd burned the whole first day of practice. And finally, I just said, all right, I got to stop doing that. I just pick one and fish, and that's what I did. You know, I'm going to spend the tournament in Harris, which is where we're taking off from. And a couple of reasons for that. One is I can maximize fishing. You know, I'm not going to run way long ways, go through a lock or anything like that. Another reason is it's real dirty, Harris is. And I'm hoping that a lot of guys, they don't want to fish that. And especially sight fish. It's just hard. I can't see. I mean, I can get up there, I can see a bed every now and then. I just can't see the fish. So, and that lets me just fish and be comfortable, you know, just put the trolling motor down, take off and fish. You know, my best day was probably today, and I felt like it got a lot better today. You know, and it was still only 16 or 17 pounds. So, you know, but here's the difference between 16 and 17. I mean, the difference between 16 and 22 is a 7-pounder. I hadn't caught one yet. Doesn't mean I can't catch one tomorrow. The difference between 22 and 28 is a 7 and an 8-pounder. So it's Florida. Just gonna go play the odds, get as many bites as I can, and hopefully a couple of those are big ones. You know, and I got on that swim jig deal late today, and honestly, I'm comfortable doing it. I can cover a ton of water. I just feel like it's something that they don't see a lot here where I'm casting it. So we'll see how it goes. I just know this thing needs to turn around. I am going to kind of show you on ActiveCaptain how, you know, things kind of laid out and what happened on the last day. But, you know, middle of the day, the second day of practice, I felt a bomb coming. I mean, I really did. I hadn't caught anything. And I was like, all right, I have to pick somewhere to fish. And so it was so late in practice that I just drew a boundary around Lake Harris, which is the lake that we take off from. And I said, okay, you're not going to leave this lake. You know, there's fish in here. That's where they catch them a lot. And you're going to maximize fishing time just staying in there. The next half day, you know, going into the last day of practice, I really didn't get on anything until just a few hours left of the last day of practice. I got on the inside of this Kissimmee grass and during the tournament and during practice and just started swimming a jig. Just a booyah mobster with the crappie on the back of it. Actually a yum chunk. I started getting bites, and you know, I got a lot of confidence and what gave me a lot of confidence was I felt like there was going to be a big wave of fish that came to the bank. And after the tournament, you know, what I realized was these bites that I was getting up on the bank, I don't think they were fish that were spawning, like males moving up like I thought. What I think they were fry garters, because my bites just went away. The first, you know, during practice, it was easy. The last day of practice, that last few hours. First day of the tournament, 25 bites. Second day of the tournament, 15 bites. The third day of the tournament, not a single bite on swim jig. It just went away for some reason, you know, and there's sometimes that you finish, I think I finished 34, 35th. There's sometimes that you finish that and you're kind of mad, but there's times like this time that you finish that and you're like, oh, thank goodness I didn't bomb, you know, looking at classic points, angler of the year points, because it was headed down that direction. So I kind of saved myself a bomb. Was it the finish I wanted? No. But is it the finish I want to take? Absolutely, because practice was so terrible. So kind of the learning aspect of this is sometimes, especially when you're fishing a series of events, you kind of just got to swallow your pride and do the best that you can and get the best finish that you can and get out of there, get some experience on the lake. Obviously wanting to win, but anyway. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of lakes here. These lakes are a lot bigger than they look. If you were to run from here to that point as fast as you could in a boat, it's going to take you 4 or 5 minutes. So a lot of water. And like I said in practice, I spent a lot of time just running around. I pretty much wasted a day and a half of practice. Drew a line in that canal the last day of practice and said, okay, this is where I'm going to fish. As you can tell, most of the waypoints is where I got bites in practice or fished, and even though it's a flat lake, you have some, you know, some flats where these fish typically are going to spawn. And that's where I got a lot of my bites. I ended up fishing, I really like this bottom side, and I found it, you know, in the last 30 minutes of practice, but I wasn't able to fish there a lot. I ended up fishing more in this area right here because we had strong north winds, and then we had strong south winds, and this was just protected. These areas would get blown out overnight. The water wouldn't look very good. So I spent most of the time in this protected area here. Right here, where that waypoint is, for you guys that watch the show or watch live, is where that grass went down. I literally ran in there the first day to fish that waypoint, and there's like 25 boats around that. So I never even made a cast in the hydrilla. I stayed up on the bank behind the Kissimmee grass, throwing the swim jig the entire event. We're out, on to the next one.